everyone. This is the Air Conservation Commission meeting, Thursday, February 8th, 2024. I'm assuming there's no changes in the agenda?
There's no changes to the agenda.
Confirmation. Is there a motion to approve the agenda as written?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Passes unanimously. Approval of the meeting minutes for January 25th, 2024. Everyone had an opportunity to look at them. The minutes, any corrections,
Nope.
changes? No, beautifully written as always.
Did not find anything.
Didn't find anything, I looked.
You tried.
I did.
I tried just because I knew you signed them, so I was like, let me find.
Is there a motion to approve the meeting minutes for January 25th, 2024 as written?
So moved.
All in
Second.
favor- Oh, sorry. Jumped the gun. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Passes unanimously. Public input. Anyone attending that has something they would like to say or ask that are not on the agenda?
So this is one of our larger audiences.
I know. Look at all that. Yeah. No? Okay.
Good job.
Good job. Thank you. All right, our first item this evening is a presentation on Stormwater Utility Fund Working Group. Dan Van Schoppa. Good evening, sir. How are you?
Good evening, Mr. Chair. I'm doing well. Yourself?
Good, thanks. Very good. Very good.
Thank you and the commission for allowing me to be here just to present this. And so I'm Dan Van Schoppa, DPW Director. And really the reason I'm here is to present and perform outreach, just let people know that this is going on. And so I met with CPC last night, gave this presentation, so hopefully I do it justice again tonight, and Jess can take a nap because she saw this last night. So what the town is doing is evaluating a stormwater enterprise fund, and so I'll get into kind of more of what that is in the slides. But there is a working group right now, comprised, Heather's on the group, several town officials, also residents, select board member, and there's a website with all the roster and a repository of all our documents. I'll get into that as well. So the work group right now is performing the evaluation, and so I just wanted to present it and let you know what the work group's doing, timeline, and kind of what young things are going on. So here we go. Evaluation of Stormwater Enterprise Fund. So I'll give kudos to Jonathan Krantz. He's on the work group, and he's a planning board member. He helped put this slide together. So stormwater is just rain, right? So I think everyone here is probably well aware of the hydrologic cycle. On your left side, undeveloped land. So, before man came in and developed, the water would fall, absorb in the ground, absorb into the vegetation, trees, evaporate. And there wasn't as much of the impervious areas we have with developed land, which can carry pollutants, or quicker travel time to our waterways and don't infiltrate as well, et cetera. So stormwater needs to be managed. So for the town of Ayer, responsibilities, there's two. There's regulatory. So Ayer is regulated by the EPA by an MS4 permit, municipal separate storm sewer system permit, like many communities around here in the state. So there's specific requirements and goals to meet the permit. I'll get into that a little later. And just some numbers of the infrastructure in Ayer. There's 22 miles of drainage pipe, over 1,000 catch basins, 373 drain manholes, 143 outfalls. There's 84 culverts, so several that are small, just small 12-inch pipes for say, but there's also, we have a few larger ones, upwards toward the 10 feet size, which is the definition of a culvert, 0 to 10 feet. So natural drainage conveyances, and then more recently is treatment units, detention basins, BMPs, as the commission's probably well aware of, stormwater best management practices. Those have to be cared for too. This map is stormwater MS4 map. Hard to see on here, but kind of you can tell, as we know, Ayer has several ponds, and the map has all the requirements of the MS4 on it, which includes highlighting impaired waters. So as you can see, there's impairments at Grove Pond, there's impairments here, there's a total maximum daily load required, Grove and Plow Shop, Flanagan has impairments. So these are things that you identify, and then through the MS4 permit and through being a steward of stormwater, the town will try to address. You can see most of the infrastructure, sort of yellow highlight you'll see here, those are kind of our catchments that are shown in here. It's hard to see, but the downtown area, it's the most dense, has the most drainage catch basins. It's also the oldest in town as well.
If anyone's interested in getting a better look at this map, I have it hanging on the back of my office door.
Yeah.
I want to take a peek at it.
It is up on the website too, under DPW's stormwater webpage as well. So just a brief of the town's stormwater infrastructure. So back to the MS4 program. Basically the permit, and this is, for every community that has this, we have to meet 5 minimum control measures, they're called. And so the first is public education and outreach, so educating the public about stormwater, whether it be a posting on social media or a meeting at business owners or large impervious area owners, things like that. It's built into our stormwater program. Illicit discharge detection and elimination. So we have to run it's what's called an IDDE program to find sources of non-stormwater that are entering our stormwater drains. And, so real briefly, the way that starts is you go out during dry weather and look for outfalls that have flow, because they shouldn't have flow if it's dry weather. Is that just groundwater infiltration, or is maybe a sewer connected to it? So you test the outfall, and you sort of work your way up from there, and you try to find anything that's not rain getting down the drain through that program. So we have to run a program there. Local oversight of construction sites, so active construction as it's going on, and making sure they're meeting stormwater requirements. Local permitting for new development and redevelopment to control stormwater runoff. So that is the Concom has skin in that game as well, obviously with the stormwater management requirements in the wetland bylaw, but the town also has a local stormwater permit as well. That's administered through the planning board and with support of the DPW. So that's part of that. And then 5, good housekeeping and pollution prevention. So routine measures such as inspections, street sweeping, catch basin cleaning to keep the pollutants from building in the system and getting into the waterways. So what's the town been doing so far? So funding-wise, historically, the town has funded stormwater operations and maintenance out of the general fund. So that's coming out of the tax base, and the DPW operating budget has a stormwater line item in there. The maintenance approach, so the town's approach has been very reactive and kind of repairing infrastructure when it becomes a problem, not so much addressing things from what you'd call an asset management based approach and looking at getting ahead of the game. We do a good job with that with our water system and our sewer system, but stormwater has been kind of lagging. And one of the reasons is the second bullet I have here. So the town's record information of stormwater system, it's very poor. Our paper maps are very poor. Water and sewer are much better. So we don't know what we have, how are we going to take care of it? So we did some work to address that. Here's some actual pipes from Ayer, and you can see a poor quality corrugated metal pipe over here and a nice concrete pipe over here in good condition. So we have a variety of different pipes out in the system. So this is what I was alluding to, recent events in 2021, 2022, the DPW put together through a consultant a stormwater asset management plan. And so as part of that plan, the consultant went out in the field and did a limited field investigation, probably approximately half of the system to get an idea of what we have out there in our most critical parts of the system. And the plan ultimately provides an asset management based approach. So it's based on the criticality of infrastructure to assign maintenance and replacements to it. So a culvert that's on a dead-end street isn't as critical as a culvert that's on like Groton School Road, that everyone's driving on. So there's many variables that go into the asset management-based approach, and that's what the plan put together. So that plan is basically guidance that the DPW is using now to manage stormwater infrastructure.
Who did this study?
Ty and Bond did this.
And that's on the Stormwater Working Group website too, or on the town's website. You can actually read the whole report.
Yeah.
Did they come up with value models for each of the assets, or did you develop those with them?
They have costs for some of the upcoming infrastructure replacements, and they have a kind of overall cost for the system, a rough estimate. Is that what you're asking?
I'm sorry. Going back to your comment about like the dead end having a lower priority versus something at Groton Harbor.
Yeah.
Did you come up with those value models, or are they standardized models that they were using, or something that they just recommended to use?
Oh, there is guidance in the industry of the asset management approach, and there is much more than just is it a dead end road. There's
No, I get that. I'm just asking if you had input, or you just took what they.
Oh, we did, yeah. So we said, well, we like the weight of this one more than the weight. Yeah, so we worked with the consultant. We didn't just let them take the numbers.
That's what I was wondering. Thank you.
Yeah, sorry. Yeah. I don't know if you guys might be aware, but EPA, the last MS4 permit came out in 2016. It really didn't go into effect till 2018, but there is another one expected soon. The 2018 permit expired 2023, and basically it just continues until a new permit comes out. So they're in the early stages, but I think within a year or so, we'll probably be seeing a new MS4 permit, and it'll be more stringent. It won't be less stringent than it is with requirements. And so the select board and town meeting did authorize to fund through a capital fund the evaluation of a stormwater enterprise fund. So that's where the working group comes in. I'm getting to a little bit of a why now, why set up this working group, look at the stormwater utility. Well, the risks are growing. If we keep the reactive approach we're doing and funding the way we are, we got to start looking forward toward climate change. These images are actually from Leominster, the floods they had October 2023. Many other factors here. Here's a culvert. This is actually the one. This is on Groton School Road over James Brook, which we are actually looking at. We are designing right now for replacement. So it actually looks very similar to the West Main Bridge and construction-wise. It's a smaller span, but it's definitely needs to be replaced. So things like these around town just been neglected, need to be dealt with. So getting into some of the finances, current budget 5-year average is about $355,000 per year, and then kind of using the stormwater asset management plan, we have built up the budget a little bit in our current year FY24 to start designing some of these replacements. But you'll see as you head off toward FY28, we kind of want to be spending up more on the line of almost upwards toward $1 million a year, a little under, to be in a proactive approach. And then this 1 year with the spike of funds, that's when we'd be replacing a culvert. So these are just estimates, but as we put together this utility, we're looking at things, and we're looking at, should we do the tax base, do the utility? Let's look at our historic and our projected stormwater expenditures and see how it fits.
What's the difference between the gold and the green?
I believe the green is capital. Isn't that right now?
It'd be opposite, wouldn't it?
I didn't put the label there. I'll have to get back to you on that one, Mark. Okay. I don't remember. I'll remember it later. Okay, so this is another, Jonathan, help with this slide. So what are Ayer's options? I've kind of been mentioning this. Fund out of the general fund, continue the way we are through the tax base, or the town could look at setting up an independent enterprise fund, so a stormwater enterprise fund. This would be similar to what we have. We have a water enterprise fund, so that's funded solely by water bills, the amount of water used, and sewer enterprise fund, similar. So stormwater would work the same way, it would be fee-based, so I'll get a little into that. So advantages of the enterprise fund. Sustainable, long-term funding to meet program goals. You know what you're gonna get. Let me miss the slide from here. Sorry. We have the asset management plan. It does, the replacement value of our drainage system's over $90 million. We don't have any, dedicated stormwater retained earnings when an emergency happens, so that would be something a stormwater utility fund would have, an enterprise fund. So for example, if we had a massive water issue and we didn't have the money in our operating budget right now, there's retained earnings that could just be used, water retained earnings for that. So right now we're in the operating budget, the tax base is where money comes from. So it's more sustainable. The small MS4 general permit, we're expecting more stringent requirements in the new permit, expected for public comment this year. And so another item with that is if we have a stormwater utility fund, that means everybody in town is paying into the fee, but the town through the stormwater utility fund can set up what's called a credit policy, and it gives incentives for like a large property that has a high impervious area to put in stormwater treatment to treat that area. And so through that, you're being a steward to try to help the waterways improve. Like we showed earlier, the TMDLs at Grove Pond. So we expect somewhere down the future, the EPA through the permitting process will be having the town have to start meeting certain goals with those waterways, the TMDLs. So having this fund will help that because you'll be able to have some, I don't want to say leverage, but some, incentive for the prior property owners to help the town.
And we'll have a fund for on town land to help with those, if those requirements come in, to help fix those areas without having to go to town meeting for capital spending that might or may not pass.
Yeah. Yeah, and so we can only spend money on the public properties through public funds. So, anyways, okay. Benefits of a stormwater enterprise fund. So it's stable, dedicated revenue source for sustainability. And this is probably one of the biggest ones. Equitable and fair. So it's based on a property's stormwater impact versus just the property value and taxes. So the current setup that the working group is looking at, the rate structure, it's the stormwater fee will be based on impervious area because that's your biggest, most significant factor to stormwater pollution is having impervious area. And so if you have a large impervious area, you're going to pay the most. If yours is smaller, you pay less. The way the fee will work, I don't get too much into it, is that there would be a fee for a single-family residential flat fee. So there wouldn't be changes. We wouldn't go down to the nitty-gritty details, granular. Hey, this person has 500 square feet of impervious. They have 700. Not that. It doesn't get that granular. So just the equity of it, though. So the group has done an analysis, and this is up on the group's website in the FAQs, that a typical single-family residential actually would pay more through property taxes than through the stormwater utility fee. They would pay less on a fee.
So would taxes go down as a result?
That's always a good question.
Yeah, it's always the question. No.
Your property taxes go down, but your fees go up, so you can't deduct it from your
Oh, yeah.
federal
No,
taxes
but I'm just,
because it's a fee, not a tax.
You're taking this part out of the general budget. So I think that'd be something, once this gets established, when they set the tax rate, if they look at what the gross income is, that would change. That's essentially what it would come down to.
Yeah.
But then stormwater isn't the only thing feeding the budget, right? If you've ever seen the budget forum meetings that we have, the town's portion is literally like 10% of the budget, where you factor in school, fire, police, and other items take up more of the budget. So if it might be a matter of like 10 cents.
Yeah, the impact would likely not be significant, but the stormwater would come out of the general fund.
But it might eliminate some of those larger capital spending. The the ones that raise it, what are those called? The
Debt exclusion?
debt exclusions, thank
Yeah.
you, those. It might help eliminate the need for lots of those,
Correct.
which those
Yeah.
raise your tax rate quite a bit
Yeah.
Yeah,
and stay on for a number of years.
yeah, that's true. Yeah, especially with these culverts that need replacement. Okay, it's not, stormwater utilities, they're not a new idea. There's about 2,000 stormwater utilities in the US, probably more. This is late 2022 data. 20 plus in Mass, several
There's
neighboring
more.
towns. Yeah, there's more.
There's more, I know Canton is currently working on one as we are, and I think there's at least 2 other ones that are currently in the same process as we are, is looking at a utility fund.
Yeah, I
So it's,
believe
we're
Wellesley
20,
has one
yes,
too.
we're 20 plus now with more coming.
Yeah,
So these are utility enterprise funds,
Yes.
basically.
correct.
But- So does every town Ayer size have to have like an MS4 permit? You can't not have some sort of regulation by the EPA?
It's, that's a good question, how EPA like outlines, identifies what's an MS4 community and not. So
Yeah.
I know, for example, the town of Harvard was exempted from it because of the density and the urbanness. I'm not sure exactly why, but Ayer with the density, it got outlined as an MS4 permanent suburb to Boston, so, good question.
I'm sure Chelmsford does, and Chelmsford has a utility
Yeah,
fund.
all the developed areas, yeah. We can pull up that map another time. Yeah. And like I said, impervious area, it's the most commonly used method to assess the stormwater fees. It has the most significant impact. Let's see. So a couple more slides, I don't want to take too much time. Next steps in timeline, so the advisory work group convened in September of last year and is meeting monthly. The second bullet, refined budget projection, so that's substantially complete. I was kind of showing you on that other slide where I need to get the green and orange corrected, or let you know what that means. Present rate structure alternatives for discussion, so that's in progress. I think we made pretty good progress as a work group, and I'll show you, everything's on the website for information that you can look at later. Town council guidance, haven't had any yet, but the town council would need to be involved if this moves forward. Outreach plan and schedule, that we have a plan, a timeline with an outreach plan up on our website, and this is part of it, just getting the word out there, so feel free to let everybody know that, the town's looking at stormwater utility. And additional meetings with the select board, so monthly updates are being provided to the select board of the status of the working group. So the current idea the working group has is to bring this for consideration to fall town meeting if it gets that far. So obviously this has to get presented to the select board and everything else is a long process. So, and there'll be a lot of outreach as well as part of that process and input. So. And also, I mentioned the credit policy, so development of abatement and credit policy for, people who take action and put in stormwater, not people, but more the large impervious areas that would put in stormwater treatment. So website is on ayer.ma.us, Stormwater Utility Advisory Work Group, got the QR code there. Here it is again here. Something happened with my word. Work group meets in a hybrid format monthly, and the meetings actually, they get up on the calendar and posted. There's frequently asked questions up there, lots more details from every meeting the group has done. And one other note, just a plug, on February 28th at 6 p.m. at the library, there's going to be a presentation by Stephanie Covino from Blackstone Watershed Collaborative just on the importance of stormwater. So the group is promoting that. If you have any questions, you know how to contact me, and I can get them to the work group and we can help answer them. But yeah, there's lots of info up on the website. I won't pull it up now, but it's our repository. So I definitely appreciate you letting me present and encourage you to let everyone know that this is going on. Anything else, Heather?
I sent you guys all the link to the website too for the meeting if you wanted to review it before the meeting tonight. If anybody has any questions too, if you don't get a hold of Dan, you're in town hall, I'd be happy to answer them for you. It's your friendly face in the building. That would be me.
That would be me. The only one.
It's I think we all know, especially this past summer, it just rained every day. it seems like every week it's not gonna stop, like the storms will get, and it's in the projection. If you ever have any questions on what the rain rate will be, the state has on their website their climate action plan, the state, well, they have a climate action plan, it's not a climate action plan, but they have a climate change assessment on the state's website, broke down by region, that breaks down the cost, the additional cost for all the items related to to climate change. You can review that, and it will break down for each region for the central one. And it does state infrastructure being one of the most costly items as part of climate change. So this would help offset some of the costs for that, because infrastructure will be one of the top 5 costly things in the combat of climate change. So.
Yeah, and did you read they're working on considering developing standards for Category 6 hurricanes now?
Oh, probably.
They are, considering adding that. So.
Yeah. And they say that they're researching to see if there was a tornado in San Diego, so, there you go. That's a fun fact. So, I mean, but there is, it's not a secret that climate change is happening. It's not a secret that the rain is getting more intense. And our stormwater standards are 100-year. When I first started in conservation in the town 16 years ago, they've increased it. So the 100-year was actually a 500-year when I first started, and now it's changed, and that'll change again. And that'll just keep happening as it goes on. So
yeah, and DEP is currently working on updating the handbook.
DEP's the handbook has already gone through public comment. We're just updating for the stormwater handbook to get printed, which will be the next 6 months. They're working on updating the stormwater, the Wetland Protection Act. The most changes on that are on coastal communities and on the stormwater section, which would put more in line with the MS4 for solid removal, which is going to be moving up to 90 and 70. So, which if MS4s get more stringent than that, then we're looking at even more, almost probably close to more of a total removal of anything. So that's going to be a lot.
Yeah.
Dan, are rain gardens part of this?
They would be, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, BMPs.
Those are your LIDs, your limited impact development practices, yeah.
And the work group's still working it out. If you're thinking of credit policies for single family residential, the work group's still discussing.
Yeah, we're still
if that's gonna. So we're still early in the stage. I think we've done a lot of the rate structure and not so much credit policy and looking at things and now certain policy decisions like should a gravel road be considered impervious or not. Like we haven't made any recommendation or decision on that at the work group. So those things still need to be vetted. But yeah, any lid technologies, BMPs, those things will be considered toward I'm sure toward credits for the right purpose. Yeah.
What about detention ponds on your property that absorbs everybody else's water within your neighborhood?
I think the town has an easement for that one.
Get a big thank you for that.
You should pay me.
We have you mow it.
Any other questions or comments? Janet, please. Yep.
Janet Proudacus. Dan, just wondering, is this going to change some of the floodplains at all because you're going to have better infrastructure? I'm just wondering, because of the storm.
The floodplain map is in the process too. That's another one that's in the process of getting updated. That is done by, that's done by the state. Ayers is being updated. I have a draft version of it. The 100-year floodplain is projected to increase in a number of areas in town.
And is that because of the storms that happened in October?
Correct. It wouldn't just be the storms in October, just the storms over the course. They usually update the floodplain map every 10 years. So they look at a course of things. They can't just be 1 year because 1 year is a fluke. They do a course of things. And it's a matter of that. Because it has actually decreased. And I look at the draft, it's decreased in some areas and increased in others. So its development will change that. There's a number of things that change where how the floodplain map fluctuates, but there's a number of areas in town that were not in the 100-year that will now be in it. If that if that draft plan gets adopted.
Is that FEMA who does that?
Yeah.
So that's a FEMA, right, it
Thank you.
goes through them, and,
Yeah.
right, so.
So everything I've been getting from the state, from UCR.
All right.
Does that answer your question?
Yeah, it does. Like I say, it would be nice if all these new pipes and everything else like that can help.
Yeah, hydraulic, I think we can, the stronger storms and the trend, the weather trends, the climate change are really the main driver of all the updates that are getting, floodplains getting worse, yeah.
Thank you.
Well, thank you very much for your presentation.
Thank you for your time, and
We'll all get the word out.
thanks, Jess, I'm glad you sat through a second time.
What time is that presentation at the library, Dan?
6.
6
6
and the
o'clock?
28th. Yep.
Thank you.
Yes, and Blackstone Water, they have actually a lot of good information. That water supply, but they have a lot of good information. They've done a number of webinars and stuff that I've gone to.
Yeah. Well, if climate change is anticipated to be more impactful on coastal areas,
Yes.
and you want to be more proactive, and sea levels are rising,
Region now.
we'll be coastal eventually, so this is good.
Oh, the changes to the proposed changes basically will almost eliminate the opportunity for people to rebuild if they're in a certain zone on the coast.
Yeah.
Which I was like, I saw that, I was like, oh, good. I feel bad for people, but seriously,
Yeah.
no.
Again. Right. All right. Then let's move on. We have a discussion on Affordable Housing Committee's Working Group Table of Use Regulations.
Howdy. Thanks.
Thanks, good luck.
Thank you very much.
Nice to see you.
You got it. It's really a pleasure being here. I know that you're probably saying, okay, great. Why would the working group, we're not as formal as the other working group. This is more of just discussions. But wearing the hat for Affordable Housing Committee Chair, we wanted to go ahead and make sure that everybody was aware that we had a group of individuals, about 4 volunteers, and ended up being 3.5 town employees, discussing ways to go ahead and get more affordable housing, more diverse and diverse housing. And we're looking for ways to figure out how to increase the inventory without getting people scared that we're going to, we're looking at ways to increase it so much that we overbuild. It's more of trying to find ways to get the different types of housing units that can be built. So again, we had individuals from the planning board, individuals from the disabilities group, the affordable housing, as well as the building commissioner, as well as the town planner, and also the economic and community development, Alicia Hersey. So with that, again, it was more of, how when you meet like this, you go out afterwards and the meeting's over with, you go ahead and talk. Well, that's about what this working group was. We just try to come up with different ideas. And so we wanted to focus in on the zoning regulations, the bylaws. And in doing that, we know that developers, when they come in, they look directly at the grid of, and we're just focusing on residential, almost like the first part of the table of use of regulations. And on that grid has whether or not it's permitted, whether it's special permit by the zoning board or special permit by the planning board, or else not permitted at all. No matter what, when you look at anything that has a P for a permit, it's got to go through the building commissioner. It's just the way that, everything has got to go through its process. And with a special permit, it's got to go above and beyond, where you look at people who are next door and forget the words. Abutters, I know. And it's like, oh. So with that, we're looking directly at that. And even though we were talking about it, it's got to go to the planning board. The planning board is the only ones that can go ahead and do any type of changes to it. And if they do any type of changes, they've got to have their public hearings. They've got to, be able to like I say, a couple of public hearings, but they'll get feedback from the public. And they've already started talking about the table of use, and Danny has already started talking about, there's a section in the bylaws that talks about inclusionary housing, and that's the section that allows for affordable housing to be built if you've got more than 5 units that are being built. You are able to put in an additional unit as long as it's affordable. Well, right now, I believe that there is a limit of 750 square feet that got put into that section. Well, because of it being affordable, he is going to be working on, again, that type of presentation of changing it so that you're looking at Massachusetts guidelines and their restrictions. Look at the statement, I've got the true wording here. It's sort of like it's called the Massachusetts Multifamily New Construction Design Requirements and Guidelines. So they're going to be looking at that, because this way here it breaks down, not only, it doesn't say on how big the unit has to be, how big the bedroom has got to be, how big the kitchen, the bathrooms and such, so that you know that it can fit within a certain area, a certain unit. We wanted to go ahead and, like I say, come up with different ways to open up the door a little bit more for developers. And again, this is part of the master plan, where we want to look at housing that can be for all incomes. Right now, I mean, if you look at, Alicia has done some pretty good diagrams on how we had the housing forum back last year. We just had a community development block grant, CDBG program forum, public hearing. And with those presentations, Ayer has done really good. This is one of her presentations that will go ahead and tell you that we've got a variety of housing units within the town. But what's ended up happening the past couple of years, and again, developers can develop whatever they want, I mean, you can't stop that, is that we focused in more on single-family houses. So this way here, again, to try to find ways to get multifamily. They've got new ideas. Instead of just like condominiums, they're called landominiums, where you're able to own the land above and beyond, not just be in a condo unit, but you're able to own property. Something to help bring some of the prices down, so that if you've got a duplex, instead of being, it's $600,000 for a house, you're at the more $300, $350 range, which is still, expensive. Most people here who work for the town, and I know I hear it constantly, can't afford to buy in the town because they're ended up moving out to Gardner and such, because they can afford that. So this is why we're trying to keep people in town. We're trying to find ways that it can, help. No matter what, it's still, I'll be making the presentation next week to the planning board to have them start actually working on it. They've been discussing it as, again, we've been trying to talk a little bit about it within our respective committees. But I wanted to bring everybody up to date, saying that there may be some upcoming zoning board changes, or not zoning board, I'm sorry, zoning bylaw changes. And with that, we're probably going to have some public hearings coming up, because they do want to get a couple warrant articles for the spring town meeting. So it's going to be something that's going to happen really quick. So I do appreciate you allowing me to come in and talk about it. And there'll be more forthcoming, definitely, at the planning board. Anything else?
Well, Janet, what exactly is the definition of affordable? I mean, what's the difference between normal and affordable?
There's two ways you can look at affordable. One is what we call the Big A, where it is subsidized. This is something like the housing authority, would have something, or it would be a deed restriction because it got some sort of tax break. the 40B, right, that for over on Fitchburg Road. That would be considered what we would call big A, affordable. And then there would be the small A, which are privately owned. We do have a lot of apartments within this town that people go ahead and they look at their renter's income and saying, okay, I know that I can't charge more than $1,000. It is well below market rate. And that's what's considered small A, affordable. I really wish, I know that, when it is the large A, that it's controlled, they look at exactly your income, and it's like 30% of your income. It depends upon, where you stand. Pleasant Street School, those items. But when it comes to your own personal, like we just saw pretty much over at Devon's Grass, when it's privately owned, they can do whatever they want, but some individuals here in town do know that people can't afford it, and they keep it low. This is what it would be great to be able to have, to have more of that. Does that answer?
It does, yeah, thank you. Anyone else have any questions?
Stand by for what the planning board, I told them, I said, we're giving you work to do.
Do you know if anything's being considered with that West Main Street area that fell apart?
That fell apart?
Yeah.
Not that I know of. I don't know if they're going to be coming back. It would be nice if they came back with a smaller,
Yeah, their permits are active for 2 years, so they might wait a year to figure something out and see if they can make numbers work before they change anything.
Yeah, because they were supposed to have, I think, 25 affordable, something like that.
Yeah, it wasn't enough.
No, I know it's not enough. Well, the one over on, that's one good thing about Fitchburg Road. Everything's going to be affordable. Yeah. They're going from, they've got 12, I think it's 12 Section B or Section 8s that are going to be per unit.
That's nice.
Yeah, not an invoice. So it stays in the town. And then they're going to go from there to 30% all the way up to 65% of the
area median income.
Correct. And if you look at workforce housing, where the state is trying to emphasize people who live in the state, let's see if we can get housing for that. That goes up to almost 120% of the area median income. But they're and it's amazing when you start looking at the numbers, and if the committee wants me to, I can send you the numbers of the AMI, and how many people here in town they qualify. And it's, and I'm talking, the town employees, when you start looking at, basically firefighters that, not looking at overtime, but when you look at the base rate, town hall, school, school teachers and such, and how many people can go ahead and qualify. So, yeah.
And the one good thing, because that's someone who used to live in a 40B project, an affordable unit, when you do sign your lease and you get in, and you have to make a certain amount to get it, they allow for growth on it for quite a bit. Like you can make almost double, not quite double, but you can make 10 to 15,000 more after the fact, which makes it you able to stay there, which makes it really nice, because then you're like, oh, I can actually live. I can buy groceries and I can stay on my affordable unit, which makes it really nice and makes it easy. Ayer's in a tricky spot because for the affordable, we fall into Boston, which makes it really tricky. That's why I lived in Townsend.
Right.
Which my grandpa's like, oh, when you moved to Fitchburg, I go, it was different. Fitchburg, I didn't qualify, but Townsend, I still did. How that heck, I don't know. But yeah, it's tricky how those lines work out, but they are.
We're right on the edge of the Boston
and which makes it so difficult here. And I dealt with that when I worked in Maynard, people getting priced out, and that's what's happening here. People moving from Boston are pricing everybody out, and it makes it unfortunate because it's just one of those weird things.
Yeah.
Especially when you find out, like I say, people from Boston are moving out here, which, again, I never talked about when I worked in Boston. I never talked about Ayer because I didn't want people moving out here because I love the town so much that it's like I didn't want to share the golden area that was here. But, some individuals are buying it for their kids and everything. It's like nice to have that type of money, But, and it's nice. Now we just need to go ahead and get some of these new individuals involved in some of the committees. That would be even nicer. More on that to come later on, we'll try to figure out. Okay. All right. But
Thank you very much.
I appreciate this as well, like I say, more to come. And,
We'll start to see parking savers out in the street. That'll be awesome.
Just like something. Traffic cone and lawn chair.
you never can tell.
Well, we
with
can't
those
do
phones.
that because we have a parking ban, so that would never happen.
That's true. That's
It's
true.
an overnight parking ban, so you can't do that.
Well, you're not
Never seen
parking,
anyone
you're
do
just
that.
saving your parking spot. Never mind, I could just picture what the officers would do then.
Oh, I can imagine what the plows drivers would do
Oh,
then.
no, they say
Things,
goodbye to the
things can
chairs.
change.
What?
I said things can change.
That's true.
Yep, oh yeah. They always do.
Thank you, Janet.
Thank you.
Do you know what progress the 40B's making, where they are?
They
in
should,
their-
they should be breaking ground this year.
Good.
Well,
Yeah.
they gotta
They-
come back to us, but yeah.
Yeah, they, you know, from what I understand, they got all their funding and
They got, all- yeah, I think it's from where Alicia said they have all their things. I was going through old files and I found an old environmental assessment report for that piece of property from 1991 that I gave her, because it's a project that never got built, so she could share it with them, figuring it might have some still valuable information in it.
Nice. I know, but you never can tell.
You never can tell. You never know.
I'm the type guy. All right, I'll let you know when I can put on a hard hat or something. I don't know. All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Kiduki, Conservation Office updates.
Let's see, office updates. I got an email, oddly enough, from Rohit for Air Solar 2.
You got a what now?
I got an email from Rohit requesting a reduction in the environmental monitor inspections from weekly to once a month.
I thought we already talked about this.
Yeah, did we do that?
He constantly asks for it. They've never granted it.
Well, it's not done yet, right?
It is correct, it's not done. In my opinion, they're only inspecting the length of the erosion controls. They're not going around the whole project anymore. But in my opinion, the project's not complete. The washout from and obviously we can't do much now with the frozen ground. From the rainstorm back in December hasn't been fixed, and the weather fluctuates so much. We go from, obviously it's frozen ground now, it's gonna be 60 on Saturday, and then may or may not get snow. Like, the site may be stable, but the ground's just doing funky things in the wintertime. I told him I would ask you all. It's in the order of conditions too that it has to be
Right.
done. So I had to go. Well, then we have to amend the order of conditions.
Yeah, no.
To be super picky, but
Yep.
there's that request out there. You don't have to make a formal decision on it now. You can say, you know what, maybe we want to have them come in and present to us and just do it that way. I don't.
No, I wouldn't vote for that.
We did a couple years ago, I think before you came in, that when I was filling in, I think we did let them go to once a month for a couple months.
Through the
Well,
winter?
Through
Yeah.
the winter.
Which is, I have no problem if you want to do it through, till April. But I will still probably go out. I have the full right to do that. So.
So my only
Yeah.
concern with that would be with, as you said, the fluctuating weather. Like, are we concerned that there will be more damage or more things will happen if it's only being inspected monthly? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, well, we
Good.
could we provision it monthly unless there are
Significant rain event, significant
rain
weather
events.
event. We could do that. That's fine. I don't mind telling them that.
Yeah, anything over a couple inches.
But does that mean you have to amend?
No, I don't think so. Because we'll just do it through April, till April 1st. So it'd only just be 2 months. I don't think it'll be too, and then I'll still go, and I'll just make the caveat that
When's the
the
last
commission
one?
still requests I go out, so.
When's the last one that you saw?
What's today? Yesterday. What's today? Yesterday.
Thoughts on that?
It's okay,
Just to let it slide till
April.
until April
Yeah,
with
I would just say
the
till April
condition that
1st, and then with the condition that significant rain or snow events, over half an inch of rain, or I'd say 4 inches of snow. I think I could be picky enough and go by the SWIP permits, and it's, I think, a 1/4 inch of rain and I think a half an inch of snow melt. but I won't go that stringent on them.
So half inch of rain and 4 inches of snow?
Yeah, I feel like that's significant enough.
Yeah. Within like 24-hour period?
Yeah, within a 24-hour period, and then I'll still go out on my weekly, or maybe even bi-weekly if nothing's going on there, as long as they're fine with that.
We're not going to change the frequency then based on the weather.
What?
It probably will not change the frequency based on the weather. So we're going to get 4 inches of snow next Tuesday. So
Yeah.
get a Wednesday report.
Yeah,
And then next week, you're going to get more than a quarter inch of rain.
Yeah.
And you're still going to get another report.
Again, that's not, again, the projects, this should be complete, but I mean, we already
Because
got
at
an
the end of the day,
extension.
if they're not going to be able to do anything because of the freezing and thawing and all that stuff,
They don't have any construction left to do out there. We're just waiting on them to finish up their stuff with the planning board.
And repair that stream crossing?
Yeah, which, I mean, that they can't do until, like, the ground's
Yeah.
frozen.
but that's, I guess that's what I'm saying, right?
Yeah.
So they can't do any repairs.
Right.
So it's just going to get worse and worse. I mean,
Well-
they'd say, look how much worse it got, but they still can't do any repairs.
Although it's good to
It
document.
hasn't gotten any worse.
Yeah.
I've been checking it. The rocks aren't in the wetlands either. It just needs to be neatened back up again. It just got displaced.
I mean, I guess I'd be okay to not have a report, just knowing that you have the ability to go out whenever you want.
Okay. If you wanted, we do to go to once a month with my ability to go out weekly if I so choose.
Yeah, and that
Okay.
way, you know, if it's.
I don't care.
So what are we asking for? Exactly?
So we just got one yesterday.
So the emergency monitor was out there with me yesterday, so that report will get issued usually gets issued on Monday.
Well, I guess why don't we just say, be aware of the Ides of March, so do March 15th and then start them again weekly as of April 1st. You've already got your February.
Well, we go out weekly.
report.
We go out weekly. They're requesting to go down to monthly.
Right.
Yeah.
So you're gonna allow them to go to monthly, so we get one in March and then,
Yeah,
okay.
I mean, if you want to do next week, do next week's, and then let them just do March 15th or whatever, and then,
Then, yeah,
I'd go for that.
okay. So,
And then start back up when in April? Beginning of April?
oh, that's a 14, so
I
2/14,
think they'll be able to
And
start
then
doing stuff
three-
to finish, or,
and then
By
I don't
April.
know.
1.
I think so.
Okay.
So, but, yeah, so when do you want to say they
Just-
start back up weekly in April?
The first, whatever that first
First week of April?
week of April,
Okay.
whatever that ends up being. And so the 1st of March is April's on a Monday, so.
Yeah, so just to know for the minutes, it's not late April, it's beginning of April.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, that's good. What else we got? MACC conference is on March 2nd. I've registered for my classes if anybody else wants to do theirs. Obviously, the town has the money in their budget to pay for that.
And it's
If you
all-
want to do it and have invoiced, you have to call them or email them directly. You can't do the registration online. And then that way, so if you want to send them to me, I can email them and we can do, I think we did it that way before for one of the other ones. So that way the town gets billed instead of you individually. We can do it that way. You want to send those
And
to
it's
me?
Zoom, right?
No, it's in person. It's the first year in person. They are doing a couple hybrid classes if you don't feel comfortable going. There is one workshop per block that will be hybrid.
Which will be grant writing, riverfront redevelopment, indigenous partnerships, and invasive species. Or the virtual, or hybrid.
And where is the conference?
At Holy Cross. Which is always really fun to have to walk around in March, in early March. It's so cold. It's so cold.
To get lunch.
Yeah, it's so cold. I remember one year I took the van, I'm like, I'm not walking it, it's too cold.
You don't have to climb a mountain to get lunch, you have to descend the mountain.
This said you gotta climb back
And you have
up.
to reclimb. Remember that well.
Yeah, it's been a long time. What else we got? The next meeting, we will have 42 Park Street for their notice of intent. When I was going through and trying to figure out how we do that, I got mixed answers from different agents. Most of them said they just use the state form, so that's what I had to confused. I had one say, oh, their circuit rider doesn't like them using the state form. I'm like, well, I'm not.
Can I ask,
It's not getting recorded, it's not getting, it's like, it's whatever, they're not sending it to them, let them use it, it's fine by me. But because we do not have a bylaw fee, there's no fees,
Yeah.
there's no fee for their notice of intent. So we will have to discuss that at some point to possibly add some sort of fees on for that.
okay, was it just me who's confused on this though, but,
She looks at me.
or Jen? I was very confused. Moving away from me. But, it just seems a lot of the order, before we even did our bylaw, a lot of the orders of conditions we issued, like Pingree Hill, et cetera, was for work in the buffer zone, not in the resource area. Am I wrong on
No,
that?
so the issue.
So, those were, we all treated those as jurisdictional under the Wetland Protection Act.
So the issue, what ours is that stream. That stream is actually a drainage ditch
Okay.
for the most part. It's not a jurisdictional, like, river stream.
Okay,
And that's, under the Wetland Protection Act, but under ours, it is. So
okay,
that's where it falls into. It has nothing to do with buffer zone. It has to do with that stream that's creating it.
okay,
Classification of the stream.
Yeah.
okay.
And the circuit rider is saying, we don't care
Okay,
about
because they
that.
had like buffer zone on there.
Yeah, because they're counting that stream as a wetland under our act,
Okay.
under our bylaw.
Equals a stream, okay,
That's what it is.
okay.
It took me a bit to figure that out too. I was actually thinking about that the other day. 'Cause I
Okay.
drove by there and I was like, why did she say that was not like their jurisdiction? They could care less. And it's like, I had to think about it. It's like, oh yeah, it was a drainage.
Yeah, it's because the drainage stream. You're welcome. No, it's fine. It's one of those things. Because they feel like, oh, it's just buffer zone. It's like, wait, what? It really
else
does
has
throw
that.
you off. And then it's an isolated, the isolated wetland is different than,
Yeah,
it's all
okay.
a thing. They're all, and it takes forever to figure it all out.
Yeah,
You're not alone in trying to figure that out. So I'll be looking at the fee thing, but just, that's at the next meeting. And then, Aho Development, is putting in 3 houses on 3rd Street. The lot that he went to the planning board for the A&Rs, there was 3 lots, be 3 single-family houses. I signed the building permit for the first 2. They all have buffer zone on them, but there was no work within the 100-foot on the first 2. The 3rd one actually has work within the floodplain, where they're doing actual work and construction in the floodplain, so they have to do flood storage. So they're coming for us with the notice of intent for that project, mostly because of the floodplain work.
Where's 3rd Street? And don't tell me it's next to 2nd Street.
Do you remember when we went out and walked for that fire retention area at the end of Marshall Street? By Grove Pond, by that
community
pathway?
garden. Where they do the water chestnut put in.
Yeah.
Yeah, remember we did that, we went last summer, before we went to Right Way, to look at that, where they're putting the bioretention pond in.
Okay.
That wooded lot next to it,
Okay.
that's the property.
Oh, okay. Thank you.
You're very welcome.
3 houses, huh?
Yeah, they're doing 3 houses, yep. And the 3rd one is the one that has to come to us because of that floodplain area on it.
Are they gonna be affordable?
It's Dana, oh gosh, no. He will sell them fairly fast, but I don't know who can afford them. They're gorgeous houses, though. I would love to have one, but, I'd rather have one on Shaker Pond than 3rd Street and Grove Pond, but that's me.
So 2 NOIs next
2
time?
NOIs next meeting, yep.
And nothing else?
And nothing else.
When do we get the bids for?
The bids will be for the first meeting in March. One other thing. So town reports are due on the 1st. I have a draft done. I didn't know if you guys want to think of any achievements or goals that the commission has completed for the 2023 year outside of what I came up with. I know we revised the regulations. We started the Pine Meadow. Obviously, we continue with our pond treatments, if there was anything else you guys could think of that I could add in there.
Did you count up all the,
I did, yep. The only thing, everything has actually increased by 1 or 2, except for certificate compliances, went from 15 to 5. But I think you had a lot of Pingree on there, that doing 22, so that
Yeah.
was that.
Do our wetland signs, or did we claim that last year?
That was last year.
How about we replace
We
two signs?
replaced a couple.
We covered some from,
It was such a wet summer that it made it difficult to do a lot of things. Because we attempted to do work with Pine Meadow and just got attacked by mosquitoes, and it was just so hot, muggy and hot that it's just like, we'll wait, and then it just rained every weekend.
Yep.
yeah.
I mean, you can think about it, let me know. I just need try
You
to
can
figure
always
out
put in there the aspirational, work with the DPW and the town to create public access to Flanagan Pond.
Oh, we did have that meeting. I attended that feasibility study meeting for Flanagan
So you could
Pond.
put that as one of our continuing goals.
Okay.
Still, that we want to keep a,
What about the CR stuff? Like, is there anything in there?
Well, we had that we said last
Even though it
the last time
didn't
that
go
they
anywhere.
signed that you signed it. This year, I mean, basically the contract ended on July 1st. I mean, it still was for part of 2023, and for 2024, I said I gotta get a hold of and figure out which ones we need to do baselines. I did Curly Circle. I gotta see if I can find out who I can get to do that, and if I have to do a whole request for bids and stuff from Carly. I figured if I could just hire someone, or if I have to do a whole request for quotes or not, so I can get that one at least done, and we can check one off of our list and then work our way back. Oh, we did get the CR back from the state for Panther Place, which I'm not in a rush for that one because we can't do the baseline on that until all the lots are done, and they've only done, I think, 5 or 6. So I did send it to Robert and Carly to have town council to review before you all see it, to make sure town council doesn't have any further comments on the state's comments and changes. So they were still waiting to hear about Shaker Pond, about their CR. We haven't gotten that back from the state yet.
and Solar 2, we have that one.
So we have that one. When he emailed me, I told him I would check with you about the monitoring, and I asked him about the stream crossing, and if they update on that, like, just make sure he got the email the last time I sent him on it, and if he had any update for me on the CR. Understanding that, winter may impact the delay on those, if it's got the baseline, but if he had an update on it.
Did you already say this and I missed it, but Kohler Place for the baseline?
I haven't, no.
Okay, because
I know we gotta do the Kohler Place.
maybe Oxbow we could,
That's what I'm gonna say. I gotta figure out from Carly
Yeah.
what we need to do as far as who I
Yeah.
can do, because I did ask Brian Butler from Oxbow how much it would cost. And in my head, I'm thinking, I know we already had the CR recorded too for Curly Circle, and that's already just been, if I could just get that one done, then I know I can go out and do that one. It's right there, it's done.
Yeah.
And then that's, if we have the money for this budget year, and then starting July 1st, okay, then we can maybe go do Kohler Place or whatever other ones we can
yeah.
go backwards on. And
Another one we should eventually move a little forward on is the Tooker property that was bought with CPA money, and we were supposed
But
to.
that's right road, right?
Oak Ridge.
Oak Ridge.
And technically there's supposed to be a CR on it, which George didn't do back in 2011 when we bought it.
It was Bill.
It was Bill. And we didn't have the wherewithal because, Becky was,
To write this CR?
well, to do anything. I mean, Becky was part-time at that point,
Okay,
we
so
had-
I have to figure out how that land was.
And I know that the state was giving a hard time to Groton last year about something with conservation lands
Yeah.
that were supposed to have CRs
Okay.
that didn't. So eventually, that's when we should eventually move forward.
Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah.
I'm just, in my head, I'm trying to think of what's the easy ones that I can do with figuring out how much money we have left
Yeah.
over. One last item, and I'm assuming, I just did it last year thinking, oh, they're fine, but I'll ask this year because I have time because it just came in. The yearly maintenance fees for the beaver deceivers and whatever else they have from,
Beaver Solutions.
thank you, Beaver Solutions came in, I think it's $1,800. There's plenty of money in the budget for it. It's already budgeted in there. For next year, assuming that we want to do that and I can just sign it and it's no problem. Yeah, okay, just wanted to make sure. Last year I just said, oh yeah, of course we're doing this. And I'm like, wait, maybe I should ask this year. I don't know who else does it, but maybe I should just ask just to verify. Which came in handy because that's how we got a discount when we had to replace that one, so.
Yeah.
Because they offer, was it 5-year guarantee on them, and if it fails, they'll give you the discount twice of what it costs, like whatever. So they have pretty good guarantees on their stuff, so.
They do.
And they should be doing privately, the Dutch electric company, I think, that works on the Air Solar 1. They have issues over there in Rosewood Ave with beavers, and they've contracted with Beaver Solutions to fix that. So that'll help some of that issue over there. So that's good. And that was one of Dan's thing on our beaver issues list of ones we need to look at that we won't even have to do. So that was a fun surprise.
Anything else? That's it for you? Anything, updates from commissioners?
So, CPC last night, and select board on Tuesday night, there's now a proposal to try to purchase 71 Sandy Pond Road, which is diagonally across the street from the town beach.
Yep.
To use for open space and rec purposes. So CPC will be having a public hearing on the application. The asking price is $700,000, which is a lot, but the building commissioner did some cost analyses of what the current owner could make if he developed it as either single families or duplexes. And this is less than that. And I guess in executive sessions with the select board, he was asking for more, and they got the number down to 700. So, is what it is. But it's a good opportunity for the town, right where it's located. And it would work with the DPW's complete streets improvements to that area. They could tie that in on that as well. So,
With the select board packet, it has concept plans.
yeah, the select board packet has 3 totally non-definitive concept plans. The select board apparently did sign a purchase and sale on like January 2nd.
Oh, okay.
But it's contingent on town meeting approving the funding. They're asking for $350,000 from CPA, and the other $350,000 the town would get from other sources like the UDAG funds, maybe. So it's contingent on town meeting approval. The seller, if it moves forward, has to clear the lot completely and level it to grade. And then 3, it has to satisfactorily pass a phase 1 environmental review. So that's that. Also,
So when you say level the lot, you just mean the house?
at this point, yeah. I mean, I don't know if they have to take out the septic system or crunch it and fill it in and level it that way. Robert did use the word fill, but it's such a level lot.
Yeah, I'm just wondering what the
Probably
asphalt
basement.
I'm wondering what the
Yeah.
asphalt that's on there. When we were out there was quite a bit of debris in the back there.
Yeah, yeah. So it has to be cleaned up. Yeah, so
Do you know
that's...
when the public hearing's gonna be for CP?
CPC's next meeting is the 6th.
Okay.
March 6th would be the public hearing
Okay.
for that. And and I'm sure the select board will be talking about it more. They talked about it for the first time in open session Tuesday night. And I guess at the end of the month, the executive session minutes for the previous meetings on this will be released. So,
Curious.
Hmm?
Curious.
curious. And then the other thing, somebody asked me about if we noticed on Teddy's Honey Hut that he's got a little sign at the bottom of the pole that says commercial parking available. And
That'd be a good question for the zoning enforcement officer.
yeah, so just to keep that in mind, maybe we could,
I was just there getting gas across the street getting
Yeah.
gas the other day. I didn't even, I try not to look at it.
yeah, and he's got a whole bunch of vehicles parked
Oh, yeah.
way in the back.
Oh, yeah.
Towards the wetlands, but if he has it over, and you know this, I guess, if he has more than a certain number of vehicles, he has to get a site plan review, doesn't he, and stormwater?
So that's a whole thing. Don't even get me started on that. So when he came to the planning board the first time before the whole issue with it not being zoned properly from town meeting, and that's why everything's on hold, there is no commercial parking per se in the zoning definitions. And that whole question of what he's doing back there comes into play. If it's parking, commercial parking, leasing, it's a whole gray area. So it kind of got brushed under the rug because it's not a redevelopment. There's no, it's an existing property with no construction being done. Apparently they don't have to do stormwater.
Oh,
Which I don't feel is correct, but they don't. In my head, I'm like, well, they're coming for site plan. Let's do stormwater now, at least minimal to offset what they're not doing. But that comes a whole thing in changing regulations that I'm hoping to try to fix. And then in the new proposed changes to the Stormwater Sector Protection Act, they're basically eliminating the redevelopment criteria, and everything's going to be seen as new construction, which makes everyone's stormwater
have to be.
a lot more stringent. So that one part alone will make a big difference. So I got to look into that. But everything on that whole property's been put on hold until after Springtown meeting, until the zoning can get fixed, and then they'll come back. But I will bring that up to the powers that be on the third floor to look at that. Probably more likely Mike, because he does all the zoning enforcement for the town now. But I will do that.
Yeah.
Anything else, Jess?
Oh, that's it for me.
Mark?
Just on the stuff that was done this past year, did you bring up anything around the various investigations? Most of you did with regards to the, not using chemicals in the pond, that whole.
Oh,
ask.
no, I did not. Thank you.
So that, and then also, what about the sort of the extra work we did with regards to Stratton Hill and making recommendations with regards to the developed property, things like that? That was kind of unique, right? We haven't done that previously on any property, correct?
What, the open space, that assessment?
Yeah.
That's in, I think it's in there from last year, and I think I left it in there, because I'm like, I think it carried over
Was
from
it still
22
last
to
year?
23,
Okay.
yeah.
Okay.
So it's in the recommendation to the planning board, and it is in there that the commission works with the planning board on any open space recreational development,
Okay, all right.
open space residential development, sorry.
And then just lastly, when Joanne was here, we spent money on that software to be able to digitize so much stuff. Has anything been digitized? That we could say we were able to do A through J files, and they're all now in the computer and all.
Well,
uniform
everything new that comes in,
goes in there.
I have them send PDF, so I have everything electronically.
But I
But it was a database.
System created that.
I have no idea what the database is. I've never seen it.
that kind of stinks, because we spent a lot of money on that, did we not?
And, you know, we did it also under Brian with a different database. Remember?
Yeah, was that a real database?
We don't know. Nobody could ever access it.
But the one with Joanne, we
Please
hired
don't ask
somebody.
for any new databases. For
Oh,
me.
no, the state has forms, I fill them out. You guys sign them, I scan them in, it gets saved in as a PDF in a folder with that DEP number under notices of intent. That's I can find, and then I go through and I have a spreadsheet and I just go through and update that, so
Yeah.
that way, and I put the dates that they were, when the orders was issued, so like, in another year from now, when I've been here for 3 years, I can go back through and go, some of those are expiring, we should go make sure I get extensions or figure out why they're not closed yet, and I just did that. When I was a little, I used to color code it.
This was designed for townwide use, right?
No, we had our own done.
No, it was just, yeah, thanks for my.
The town is doing one on their own,
Yeah.
and we did one. And I don't know if they were ever merged.
Has the town done it?
And I don't
The
think they
town
did.
is in, so the DPW has the online software. They're working for this, I think, coming up budget year to get it over to the building department and planning side. It's difficult to merge those things over on the conservation side because we use an actual state permit, so you can't. Back when I used other towns, they couldn't ever merge the conservation permit into their software because it's not how because they build it and they can't. So it becomes a weird thing that they can't usually do conservation on there. But when they come and start presenting to the town, I could see if they can, but I don't know if they can. I'm sure the online software's gotten better over the course of 15 years, so.
So if we're not using it,
We don't pay for licensing for it, I don't think, because I've never seen a bill for it unless it goes through IT.
well, that's fine. I guess it'd be worthwhile at least to check with Cindy then, just to,
Yeah.
if it's still out there and exists, how do we kill it? You know,
Or find
a little
it.
bug, I suppose,
Or find it and use it if we
or
can.
find it and use it, I guess.
Maybe
Yeah.
it's out to somebody.
Not that.
Yeah.
And
I will
if,
look into that. I will look into
Yeah.
that.
if the town ever moves forward on creating that position for the shared between the town planner and us, that would be time to also.
It's not when, it's not if, it's when.
Yeah.
George knows.
Is it
When is if in air?
Yeah, honestly, I think with all the job postings that went out in the last this week, I think the town might like slow down a little bit on posting new ones.
What postings have gone?
We, assistant town accountant, assessor, per diem van driver for the Council on Aging, and I think last week was assistant for the select board's office, town manager's office.
This is the town accountant over there.
Yes, Carrie, yes.
But she got elevated, right?
So she was the assistant.
So there
When Fred
was-
left, she became the town accountant. She
Okay.
has Terry, who works with Natalie and Michelle. Her last day is tomorrow, so the assistant town accountant position is now open.
So Fred didn't last long.
No, he did not.
Okay.
Which
And how's Carrie doing?
Carrie's doing a fantastic job. She was very nervous when she took the position. I kept telling her she could do it, and she's done great. She's very nervous about not having an assistant, so she really wants to hope the position filled. So if
Yeah.
anybody knows anybody with accounting skills, that's to be in a town. It pays very well to the union, lots of holidays, vacation, education incentives. If you have your bachelor's degree, you get $1,700. So.
But you don't need a degree, right? That's what
You
Laura-
don't.
that's
I
what
don't think
Laura
it. I don't think it states that because Terry had just had experience. She didn't have a degree. I don't think that one doesn't require. It just requires the experience. But the part of the union, the benefits that do get extra money for having your degree.
Making a career change,
Don't know, retire in a couple of years? Can they wait?
$30 an hour,
Yes, it's like $30. It's like $29 an hour.
29.03 to 30.36.
How are we doing ensuring that order conditions are actually getting filed?
Oh, they're being recorded?
You recorded, yeah?
All the ones that we've done, I've gotten the recording for. I don't think the only one I haven't gotten, I don't think I did get West Main Street, but I mean, I'm not overly shocked on that one. I didn't get 71 Sandy Pond, and again, I'm not shocked on that, saying they're selling the property anyway. But all the other ones, I've gotten the recordings.
Okay.
I will try to make a mental note to make sure I don't sign off on building permits until I get which I haven't gotten any, get the recording in.
What do you get, a letter, email, nothing?
They send me a copy, of the front page with the sticker
Okay.
that shows it's recorded.
Cool.
So I have the book and page.
And speaking of Tuca property, any motion on getting rid of the sheds?
I was just thinking about that. I'm like, hey, did they
I don't know, when did we met with Robert quite a long time ago.
Yeah,
and
that would be the last time I met with them.
Is that true? Wow.
Besides for the stormwater items, yeah, pretty much.
Yeah, so nothing. It's up for grabs.
It's a matter of, I still haven't gotten a chance to get out there and look at them. I always forget to go there. Because every time I go from Groton, I never go
Off.
off of Oak Ridge, and I'm like, I gotta go Oak Ridge to see them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And last summer, fall, I was concerned with the water level from the beavers at closer to Autumn Ridge too.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It seems to be pretty much on the way back burner.
Hmm.
Anything else?
No.
Anything else at all? Motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Bye.
Opposed, nay. Passes unanimously.